You're not going to get it off with one hand.
Maybe I'll say that to you later.
Ew.
What's going on, guys? It's Viking here, ready to do another podcast, but this time decided to do a little something special and bring on
Valkyrie!
something we haven't really thought of before. As most of you guys know, is my lovely fiance and teammate, N02 Valkyrie. Decided maybe I'd get her in the studio to do a little show for you guys to maybe give a girl's perspective on the airsoft world. So before we get started, classic Nomad fashion. So we're going to have a few beers and just kind of talk about kind of the girl side of airsoft. So I already know this. She's all shy. So shy, even though there's no camera or nothing. All you gotta do is talk into a microphone.
It's your microphone voice. It makes me nervous.
What got you into airsoft?
Well, you asked me if I wanted to go, and I said no, because I knew it was like pretty much all guys there. But you begged me, and I gave it a shot. And
I begged you.
Yeah, you said, "Come on."
That is not how I remember it happening.
Well, you really wanted me to go.
I did, but I don't think I begged you. You were too worried that it was gonna hurt too much.
And you made me stand at the end of the hallway and take a shot before you let me play.
Yeah. To make sure that you could take it, to show you that you could.
And it was okay. But I went out, and everybody was actually really welcoming and nice, so it turned out really well.
Yeah, we actually played together for about a year and a half before Nomad was even a thing. So here's to Nomad. Cheers.
Cheers.
Also, huge shout out, as always, this podcast and all our videos and all of our content, always sponsored by Niagara Quartermaster. Just a place that Carly and I have both been going our entire airsoft career, if you want to call it that, to purchase all our stuff. Just what's your opinions on Niagara Quartermaster?
I really like Niagara Quartermaster mainly because when we walked in there, we knew nothing about airsoft. And we had a lot of questions, and they were always really nice and welcoming and didn't make us feel like outsiders ever. Especially when the Brink brothers came around. They were really welcoming and really nice. Yeah,
I guess we kind of played for about a year before the Brink brothers got involved.
Yeah, and you were a little more into it at first than me, but you had a lot of questions to ask, and they were always really informative and nice to us and made us really feel like...
Yeah, so if there's anyone out there that's thinking about getting into airsoft, or if you happen to be a guy that plays airsoft thinking about getting your girlfriend into it, listen to this. Get her to go to Niagara Quartermaster. They'll definitely be able to help them out. And also, a lot of us are always there, too, to help out both behind the counter and out on the field. So, back to it, though. So, you finally got out to play airsoft. I believe we bought you a gun before the first time you played, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. We got my honey. Really, we had nothing.
Yeah, because we didn't really even know anybody that really played.
No.
I had played with your brother once.
Jean Vanier, yep.
And I wanted to really play. And at the time, we also didn't really have any friends.
No, we had no friends.
It's hard to think that some of the Nomad members of today wouldn't have any friends, but we lived out in the middle of nowhere at the time and didn't really talk to anybody.
No, we were in our own little bubble, but we also, we were fairly new, as a couple, I mean.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of trying to go out and meet people as a couple and kind of make a new group of friends, which...
Yeah, and it definitely paid off for us. But, so we had to go out. We bought an Ares Honey Badger for you.
Yeah, still have that gun. Beautiful gun.
Beauty gun. Just a great fucking gun.
Just a great fucking gun.
But so, we kind of had to buy everything right off the start for both of us to be able to play. We could have rented.
Well, you know what we did was we went with the blue jeans, black shirt, but we had to buy our vests and stuff like that to start, and some guns. We didn't go crazy on we were looking, but we didn't go crazy on the whole BDUs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then both of us actually joined the Marines. It was the first.
We did. We absolutely did. Yeah, so Mitch heard about a meeting that they were having kind of to recruit new people, you know, and it was at a bar, I think. Was that a bar?
Yeah. I don't know if it was it's not a full bar, more of a dinner place. It was for breakfast. And we showed up and the meeting hit 11 o'clock and I started ordering beers right away. Kind of. Did you have a beer also?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we kind of started our Nomad career really early.
And Caleb was there.
Oh yeah, and Caleb can do, as some of you guys might know.
Happened to be there.
He was already part of a team. He was already part of the Widowmakers, but this is like a recruitment thing for the Marines. Super friendly. We both ended up joining. We stayed in for a little while, but it was one of those things where we made the classic mistake that we see a lot of people make, where they join a team too quickly before they're involved with community, and also there really was no reason at the time for us to be part of a team. We weren't ready for milsims. We weren't ready for anything like that, and realistically, we played a little bit, but we didn't play nearly enough to be part of a team.
Yeah, we were complete newbies. Absolutely. I think it was more just to meet people and kind of get to know some airsofters and, I don't know, kind of get our foot in the door, I think.
Yeah, and it definitely did get us in to the door 100%, and, you know, we wouldn't be where we are today in, like, the milsim community if it wasn't for the kind of the first early time that we spent on the Marines. So that's there's a little shout out for those guys. Also, if there's any new players, primarily, I think they're mainly looking for younger players right now, but anybody at all that's looking for a really welcoming team in the Niagara region that's really kind of new player friendly. The Marines, they're it can be Canadian Airsoft Marines Bravo Company, I think is the full name. Give them a check out on Facebook. They're always looking for players, so that's a good place to start. So we moved on from Marines.
We were just flying solo for a while, trying to get some of our friends involved.
Yeah. So that was we were around the time we started playing with, like, my buddy Max started playing a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess your buddy too.
Yeah.
We and that's one thing too. You and I've always had, like, the exact same group of friends. We never had, like, different friend groups or anything. So started playing solo for a little while. Started doing a few things with the Widowmakers.
Yeah. Later on, we started bringing out more of, like, couples. We brought out Mike and his girlfriend Olivia to try. We brought out Max and Jess. And so we were trying to get, like, more couples out with us and, like, I don't know, I guess a few more girls on the field.
Yeah, I didn't even think that. Yeah, we had Mike, or Caesar as we called him. Caesar and his girlfriend came out. Then Jess and Max came out. And so I guess couples airsoft has always kind of been our thing from the start. Which was, you know, it's great. And it definitely we always held on to that going forward. And then we were a couple months or maybe even a year later, we were lucky enough to kind of start the beginnings of Nomad with T and Caleb.
Yeah, because, like, we knew Brad, and, like, we didn't even play with him that much, though, but we knew Brad and Caleb and T, and I met Teresa, like, in line one of our very first times there. She had the same gun as me. We were standing behind them, and you knew Caleb already, so you guys introduced us. Really pushed that friendship there.
Really pushed it. Really made it happen. And Brad had a girlfriend at the time, but we don't talk about her. But he's got a new one. Brad's new girlfriend, Tess, Kodak, as you guys might know her, became another huge part of the team. one of the newer members, but that brought Nomad's girl count up to 3, I guess. 3 official.
Yes.
Members. You had some other friends that were coming out and playing with us. And so, kind of got to break it up into pre and post Nomad. Before Nomad was a thing, what kept you coming out to play the game, even though you really were the only girl out there on the field?
I think it was just that everybody was really nice to me and, like, really welcoming and helpful, I think, on the field. And, like, if I had any questions, like, everybody was there to answer. The Widowmakers were a huge part because they were always really nice to me. We met the Brink brothers pretty early on, and they were really nice to me as well. And they kind of, like, steered me in the right direction with my gear and what would fit me properly and kind of, like, what I should buy for the best deal kind of thing. And I think it was just, like, all of the support I had from all of the guys that were actually on the field playing themselves that made me keep wanting to come back and made me feel welcome on the field.
Yeah, the Widowmakers were definitely a huge part of our early airsoft. We, at one point in time, were even close to joining the ranks, stuff like that, right before we ended up starting Nomad, actually. But they were definitely the team that we kind of looked up to see what milsim was, because we didn't really know the difference between the two, other than, like, some videos I'd watched and stuff. But, so, like you were saying, it's definitely the community that kind of kept you in, but the sport itself, what did you enjoy about the sport?
Oh, I like the adrenaline. The adrenaline on the field is cool. I think the best part is, in the beginning, I would just wear, like, remember you gave me that paintball mask?
Yeah.
I would just wear that so nobody knew I was a girl on the field, which is kind of funny, and, like, shooting guys, like, point blank, and then them being like, oh, nice hit, man. And me being like, thanks.
Yeah, well,
I think that was kind of cool.
I think one of the first couple times you went out, though, before we got you that paintball mask that kind of covered your hair and stuff, you had bright blonde hair flowing around the field, and it was very noticeable where you were all the time.
Yeah, everybody, and, like, that became a joke really early on that, you know, I was the target on the field because of my blonde hair, and I think that, like, there's a lot of good personalities on the field. Like, as soon as we got out there, we got to joke and laugh with everybody. We got along with everyone really well. Like, the inside jokes you get with those friends just from playing together is pretty insane, so... Yeah, I was a huge target for all the guys.
So then we made Nomad with Teresa, Caleb, and Brad, and it's grown into, over the years, what it is now, what all you guys know. What would you say has pushed you further into getting into the milsim community?
Oh my goodness. So our team is amazing, and, like, I don't think that we've ever had such a good group of friends, ever. So when we started Nomad and, like, it started, like, slowly growing, we just grew as a family, I think, and then it became just more and more enjoyable to go out as a team. And then once we had that, like, kind of family build from the beginning on, I felt more comfortable going to milsims, and it made me just that much more interested in going out and playing with my best friends and knowing that I have a team that's behind me 100% that is my family on and off the field.
Yeah, and also, like, as for the most part of me doing squad lead or, like, helping the squad along that way, there was never the pressure that if you felt you couldn't do it, that you had to stay on the field or anything like that. Like, our team was always fairly lax the first year on, if you have to go to bed, go to bed. This year at Nightfall, we really pushed it kind of to, I think, what's going to become our norm now, but we pushed a lot harder than we did the other.
Okay, but I'd just like to add that with the first Nightfall we went to, we really only slept an hour. We were off the field maybe an hour and a half. This year we didn't sleep at all. So
yeah. And
for being laxed, we were pretty...
Yeah, like, but we definitely played a lot harder, played a lot tighter. What would some advice you would have to any maybe girl whose boyfriend perhaps plays or anything like that? Like, what would you say to maybe get them to come out onto the field?
Well, I think I would just say that you should definitely just give it a shot and try it. But I think that you should come and play with the other girls that are on the field, because I think it really changes your experience when you get to play with another, like, our group of girls that we have. We're really welcoming, we're friendly, we definitely want more girls to come out. So if you come out, like, we will definitely take you under our wing as well. And I think it's just a little bit more comfortable when you can connect with another girl on the field. So I would suggest just coming out and trying it, and then maybe getting a hold of Nomad and just letting us know, like, what you're going to be at, and then maybe we can correspond and get together and play all together.
Yeah, if anyone's looking to do that at all, and maybe you want to get your girlfriend out and she would feel more comfortable playing with girls, don't be afraid to shoot us a message, and we'll get out on the field. We'll get all our girls out to make her feel more comfortable, and I'm sure they can teach her a thing or two about the game. 'Cause I know it might be a little bit uncomfortable for a big group of guys to try and teach a girl how to properly move through buildings and stuff like that. Whereas if you have a group of girls behind showing stuff that you guys have all learned, because you guys have really been putting in the time to practice this year, all that stuff. So if you know anyone like that, or you're thinking about coming out to play and you're a girl yourself, don't be afraid to shoot us a message. At that point, it'll be one of either T, Carly, or me, sometimes Brad, that'll get back to you. And then we can definitely set that up.
Yeah, I think that one of my main worries, too, when I first started playing was being left behind, kind of, like...
Yeah, I was bad for that.
Yeah, your boyfriend's really experienced. He's got his friends already there. Maybe they get excited and they run ahead or whatever. I am, like, directionally challenged, so it took me a really long time to figure out even our home field. So that was pretty much my main worry, was being left behind and not knowing where I am and looking like an idiot. So it was really nice, like, whenever I would bring out some other girls, I would always stick with them. Even if the guys ditch us, that's fine. We'll hang back. We'll have our own fun.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, just thinking about... You're a huge airsoft fan. You've been to multiple milsims now, both long, short. Really got to know the community. But there's definitely a noticeable difference in how much you enjoy airsoft outside of actual games and how much I do, or the rest, like Brad, Caleb, and I do. Like, I've never once seen you watching an action movie have to put your gear on.
Well, I think that maybe girls are just a little more mature. Yeah, that's never really been a thing for me. I can watch a movie and be like, wow, that's really cool. Imagine myself playing airsoft, doing that stuff, but that doesn't mean I gotta get my gear on. For one, that's too much work. I'm a lady. I don't feel like sitting in my gear being uncomfortable,
A rough estimate, how many times do you think middle of the night you've come into the man cave and I've been in full gear in my boxers with a beer watching a movie?
Oh my god. Too many to count. Also, every time we buy something new, you have to come home. It can be the smallest thing that you buy, but you come home and you have to put on every single piece of gear that you own just to try out this one thing that's pretty minor.
Got a new flashlight, gotta put it on all my rig.
Yeah, I gotta figure out where it's gotta go. Where's this gonna fit? Oh my god, I gotta feel it out, No, not for me. But that's true. You know what? I think that it's mainly like the family and the experience and like going to the games. Like Nightfall is one of my favorites because it's a squad-based event. So like one of my main worries is like going to a brand new field, not knowing where I am. Say I get hit and my teammates don't or whatever, not knowing where I'm going. But with Nightfall, you have to go back as a squad, which I think is really cool, and we all stick together and we have a lot of fun while we do it. So
well, Nightfall especially being one of the biggest games, most well-known games, I think everyone can agree that Nomad has changed the game in the aspect of like friendly atmosphere off the field. Like, our keggers have definitely changed the way that the game plays off the field. Like, the amount of stories we have from that. And I really think that's the kind of environment that makes it a little bit more inviting to maybe the girls' side of things.
Absolutely. And I think that, like, that's one of the one of the first things that you and I noticed was, like, there was a lot of bickering on the field, off the field, just unnecessary drama, and, like, we pretty much Nomad, like, we wanted to start it, and we wanted to be like, let's all just be friends, you know what I mean? So, like, I think the kegs were your idea, no?
Yeah, well, part of it started with Caleb and I bringing a cooler of beer to one of the first games we ever played together, because they were super lax on rules. And so we decided to show up with a cooler and have some beers. Looking back on it, we were safe, and I think we've proven to a lot of people that we can drink before an airsoft game and be okay. We don't get too silly, but on most fields that are legitimate at all, that is a definite no-no.
True.
But the way that we met as many people as we did by just having beers to hand out, right away, just like a light bulb went off. I'm like, okay, if we want to get pretty popular, we're gonna do this a lot.
Absolutely. And you know what? New Dawn was one of the first ones that we did that with, because we just walked around with our cases of beer and we would just hand them out to random people. Then we would introduce ourselves, talk, laugh, whatever. And, like, our popularity, like, went way up after that game, and, like, we were more memorable, I would say, because, like, afterwards, after New Dawn, people were like, oh my gosh, like, I remember you guys, like, we had some beers, we had some laughs, we had some fun, and after that, we were like, wow, like...
Yeah, we definitely changed our drinking habits to night before instead of morning of, which I think became a little bit more acceptable in the airsoft community, and which is good, because we kind of got... Nomad was fully formed after all that stuff, so that's good that we don't really have that on our record.
That's true. Well, you live, you learn.
Speaking of girls in airsoft, KDP.
She's amazing.
She's actually going to be the other guest of tonight's podcast. For anybody that doesn't know, Katie Panasiuk, she is the airsoft photographer, one of the best ones out there. My personal favorite, our team's favorite.
Of course.
Not that there's many out there. The only other one I actually know of being Ryan Sabad, who takes phenomenal photos. Like, his quality of work is through the roof. But we definitely have a more personal connection with Katie. And Ryan, if you're listening to this, I definitely would like to change that. I know all of us would love to have a few beers with you. We've had lots of beers with you at the keggers, but so KDP, what's your opinion on her?
KDP came out of nowhere, and she was the friendliest person I've ever met at Airsoft. She came right up to me. She gave me a big hug. She introduced herself. She said how awesome it was to meet me and us, and, like, I think that she followed us a little bit before, like, when she knew our name. She kind of looked at our videos, saw what we were about. She's just an awesome person, just so friendly.
Yeah, and I think a lot more people actually know her this year. The first year, I don't think a lot of people knew what she was doing. We didn't know if she was there for a team or if she was doing events and stuff like that. But luckily, all in the interview coming up, I've asked her all those questions, and for anybody wondering, she's more than available for anybody that wants. So, won't hold you up too much longer. I know you probably have to go do something else in this house that we both live in.
Yes, mainly get away from you.
Yeah. So I'll catch up with you in a different room.
All right.
It's
nice talking to you guys.
Okay, hey, have a great fucking day.
You too.
Okay, be quiet, shutting the door so I can finish talking to my imaginary YouTube friends.
Shut up.
What's going on? We're here with the legendary Katie Panasiuk. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. How can I introduce myself here? I guess I can say that I'm best known for being a combat press photographer for Airsoft. but I'm also a freelance journalist and a photographer for many other things. So
So where a lot of people are going to know you from is you do a lot of photography at the Milsims that all these teams go to, primarily for the Crywolf boys, but you're always out around taking a lot of other pictures for other teams. Like, how is that something you got into?
Well, honestly, it started with Crywolf. So they had rented out my property one time to just run a game, and I was really interested in what they were doing, so I just kind of put myself out there and asked if it was okay if I took pictures one time, and eventually Jody from Crywolf ended up asking me to go shoot Icebreaker 2, I believe it was, and from there it just ricocheted. Every one squad, every person just kept asking me if I'd be willing to get hired to go follow their teams around or go to a Milsim and shoot the entire game. And, you know, it was one thing to do it once, but then it was quite the experience when you actually get to go to different areas and go play, and I just got hooked.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the Crywolf guys, I gotta crack a beer in respect for them. They've been a huge, I guess, group that we've had so much to do with. They've been so friendly, so welcoming. Jody's been amazing, getting us out to his field, running games, letting his boys come and party with the Nomads, because we know that gets a little wild sometimes. So thanks, Jody, for letting your kids come play with us. But speaking of like kind of memories with them, what's some of your favorite memories from games that you played?
There's so many of them. It's really hard to kind of narrow it down to just a few, but there's, obviously the biggest thing when I'm at these games, I have a little, what do you call it, strategic pointing game that I do with a lot of the guys.
I actually have pictures that you sent me of me doing that, so that'll be posted. I'll probably be in the background while this conversation's going on, but sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, no, by any means. Those are actually, that specific picture that I sent you is probably one of my favorite ones. The long hair and everything is just epic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these guys, like, they just get into it, and it's just so much fun when you're in the middle of the game, and, like, these guys just instantly stop when they see you and start pointing and doing their most dramatic poses ever. I love it. And then, I'm starting an album of just, like, all these guys and all the pointing that goes on, because it's catching on, and a lot of the teams are starting to pick it up now.
That's so funny.
I know, it's great.
Until you pointed that out to me, no pun intended. Until you showed me that, I didn't realize how many of your pictures actually have guys doing that. And then as I was going through the albums and like looking, there's a couple pictures of me doing it too, and I'm like, this is crazy.
It's just caught on like wildfire. It's one of those things that's super funny because I mean, I don't notice it in the other photographers' pictures, but obviously when the guys see me, they know to do it.
That's funny. I think I misspoke in the last question. I asked you about your favorite memory that you played. I meant take for pictures of. But on that, do you play at all, or are you just photography?
Well, so, it's a happy announcement to make that I'm making my debut as a player at Risk. And I'm quite nervous about it, but I'm really excited to go in with Crywolf because, for pictures, obviously I'm open and I'm like Switzerland for everybody. But when it comes down to playing, there's no better team for me to play with in my mind. So I'm really excited to make that advancement, and I did just start playing on the home field to get some practice, so we'll see how that goes.
That's awesome. You would start playing on the one game that Nomad's not making it out to, so classic. It's almost like it was planned.
It's definitely not planned, but I wish you guys were going.
Well, it's going to be great now when we get when Crywolf and Nomad plays together. We call ourselves Mad Wolf, so now you'll get to play with the girls when we get to play. So that'll be awesome getting you out there with Tess, T, and Carly. That'll be awesome.
One thing I have to say though, I absolutely love Nomad's women.
So do we. Well, we like them. Yeah, it's definitely good to see more women getting into the sport, and I can't think of another team that's as inviting as Crywolf, so it's no surprise that they've kind of created that environment where you feel comfortable going out and playing with them. Like, it's definitely a male-dominated sport, so it's good to see more girls getting involved.
Oh, 100%. I'm a big supporter. Every time I see a woman in the field, I get like super excited, and then I run up to her and I'm like high-fiving her, and I'm gung-ho about all the people just being so inviting to allow this male-dominated sport to welcome women and really invite everybody to play. I think it's just a really exciting time, and not only that, for me, it was a big thing because Crywolf was the first team that kind of put me out there, and they were the first team that made me feel at home. And it's easy to see why I would stick with them and why I would play with them. So I'm really looking forward to just seeing hopefully more women come out, because with Nomad having the most women on their team.
I was gonna ask that actually, if since you've seen a lot of teams taking pictures, stuff like that. I'm fairly sure Nomad does have the most girls, correct? And anybody listening, please chime in if we don't. But I see maybe one on other teams sometimes, but what do you see?
Yeah, honestly, mostly it is like one girl on the team. Nomad has definitely been the one team that has numerous girls on it. So. But the one thing I do have to say, over the last couple of years, I have seen more girls coming out, which is really exciting for me, because more and more teams are starting to put women on. And I think it's not that, they weren't allowing them before. I think women are just intimidated by the fact of getting shot.
Well, and that's the getting shot part is definitely a thing, and all of our girls kind of start out the same way. Like, I remember when Carly was first, she was thinking about starting, and she was a little worried about how much it would hurt, and I was just kind of waited until she wasn't paying attention, and I shot her right in the ass, just like downstairs. And she like, looked me the other way, and like she was pretty pissed off, but I was like, so how much did that hurt? Because it was from point blank range. And she's like, oh, well, I guess it's not that bad. And now a couple years later, she's out at PRZ getting full autoed in the face and laughing like it's funny. So it's just one of those things. Once you get out there and start enjoying the game, that's why I don't think you'll have any problem.
No, and like the biggest thing for me when I'm at games, I get shot all the time, and I have less gear on than the rest of you. That
actually brings us to the next thing. Do you ever feel kind of unsafe on the field? Like some of your shots that you've gotten, you've been right in the action. I've seen grenades dropped at your feet. Like tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, when I first started shooting airsoft, I was really like, you don't know how close you can get to the players, but over the years, as things have progressed and the more and more milsims that I attend, the guys are just comfortable and they're used to me running in with them, and I know that if I want to get that great shot, I got to be in the middle of that action. And those are the shots that the guys are sharing all over their feeds, because those are the ones that are like, hey, I look like a badass in this, right? Mm-hmm. But to say that I feel unsafe, never. I have never been at a sport or an event where I have felt more comfortable. Really, airsoft and the community itself is so welcoming and so supportive. And I always have guys, like, even when grenades are thrown at my feet, these guys are like lunging at me trying to protect me. So It's a really big support system knowing that I can walk into this event and know that not only am I maybe immersed in the moment, but everybody's watching my back no matter what.
Oh, exactly. And I'm sure if anything was to happen that wasn't, anything intentional happened, there'd be a lot of people there to deal with it right away. No one's out there purposely trying to shoot the photographer or anything. Unless it's us. Unless it's us giving you a little tag.
I was just about to say, I have guys constantly being like, oh, I don't want to shoot you. And I'm like, I don't know why. My team shoots me more than anybody.
That's awesome, though, just seeing you get out there, really making a good name for photography and airsoft, because I know a lot of people think it's kind of silly to have a photographer out on the field, and really there is, other than the games that you go to, the only other game that really has a photographer was Nightfall, and they do it for a good publicity reason, but people with all these expensive gear and sort of camera gear and stuff, they don't want to get it shot out, so it's impressive to see you getting that hard into it, knowing anything could happen at any time.
Well, I thank you. I mean, I do take extra measures to protect my gear, so I always have an extra layer of protection on top of my lenses, which makes me feel a little bit more secure, because if it does get shot out, it won't actually break the lens.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's always that risk factor that you have to take when you go out there with that gear. But the biggest thing for me is, airsoft is a men's fashion shoot.
It really is. It's military LARP.
But it's so much fun because, you guys go out there and you spend so much money to, not only get good gear, and I know it's not cheap because I go to the airsoft stores and everything with those guys, and, you spend a lot of time putting these uniforms together and making your teams look good and doing all these things. So what better way to go and capture that at as many games as I can and really bring to life what you guys do, because a lot of people don't, outside of airsoft, don't understand what airsoft is.
Yeah, once I start showing people some of the pictures that you've taken and stuff like that, it makes it really easy to kind of explain what we do. Whereas when you're just kind of talking about airsoft, people don't really understand the gist of why you would play. Especially these big 24-hour mil sims where you're eating and sleeping out in the field, stuff like that. But then you show them some of these pictures and they're like, oh, it's kind of legit. So, and it just makes the stories better, right? Because my personal opinion is milsims themselves aren't the funnest. They're kind of shitty. They suck for a lot of hours, and you're basically paying to go work. But the stories afterwards are worth the money and the time 100%. So those pictures really help with pushing that.
That really makes me happy to hear, because I have so much passion for what I do, and I absolutely love being in the field with you guys and experiencing that whole every move, every push, everything that we have to go through. I'm climbing through windows with you guys. I'm just as much into it as you guys are, and it really tugs at my heartstrings because you guys love pictures so much.
That's bringing a little tear to my eye. So, moving forward from that, though, you do awesome work for Crywolf. Are you able to be kind of contracted by other teams, or do you just take pictures for them?
No, not at all. So,
Not at all. Fuck those guys.
No, don't do that. No, I honestly, I do a lot of work with Crywolf, yes, and they still pay me to go out and do other events, when they host Icebreaker and stuff like that. But I've worked with CDC. I've worked.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I've worked with quite a few, and I've worked with Sean Fletcher too, and the biggest thing for me is I'm Switzerland when I'm out there actually contracted to work, and no secrets are divulged between any teams, or I'm not a secret spy or anything. But it just comes down to the fact that, like, yeah, I am available to go out and shoot for anybody. And, you know, the last event that I shot was obviously Nightfall for Force Recon.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm always excited when I have different teams wanting me to run with them because, or, you know, even just a Milsim event where I'm shooting the whole thing. I'm really passionate about being out there because I like being there, so I want to make sure that, you know, every team gets a good experience from me.
That's awesome to hear, because it's that kind of passion that really makes the pictures count. You're not out there just taking cell phone pictures or anything like that. Like, you're really putting your passion of photography behind what you're doing, and it's making the sport a better place for everyone. What would be, I'm gonna make sure to post all your information down below in the comments for anybody listening, but what is the best way for people to contact you if they kind of want to go that route and maybe get you out taking some pictures?
Oh, well, I mean, a lot of the guys reach out to me on Facebook.
Okay.
They can message me on Facebook, or the next best thing is that they can email me at panasiukphotos@gmail.com. And they can also contact me on my business cell phone or through my Instagram account. But my business cell phone is 226-345-7252. And
I'd be expecting some calls from me like midnight. I'm gonna drunk dial you all the time.
It's a good thing it's my business line and not my personal.
All right. Well, the other thing too that I really have to say, thank you so much for doing this twice. For anybody that doesn't know, we tried to do this last week, and it was a really solid interview. Relatively same questions, stuff like that, maybe different patterns. But midway through, my recording software and my headset just went for a shit. And so I had to contact Katie and say, hey, I can't use anything that we did, so sorry for wasting your time. And you were awesome, and we're like, I can do it again. And so here we are. We both found some free time, and just want a big shout out from the podcast to you. All the guests moving forward should be more like Katie.
Aw, well, thank you. But you know, at the end of the day, like we did have a lot of fun on the last interview too. So I'm more than willing to help out a great friend and, you know, obviously a passionate airsofter. So anytime whatsoever you need anything, thanks for having me, man.
Well, I'm sure that we'll be getting in contact with you about, we run a game every year called For Little Brat. I'm sure we'll definitely be getting in contact with you to maybe get you out, maybe even playing. Maybe you take, if you can play, we would rather you play than take pictures, because that's way more fun. But either way, we'll be in contact with you about that. But in closing, we like to ask this to all our guests, what were your first opinions on Nomad compared to your opinions on us now? Because I know you met us like year one, base just being shit disturbers.
Well, I mean, I have to say, you know, I didn't get to meet the girls the first time. So I got to meet the Nomad boys first.
That's no good.
I do have to say, though, like, you know, we have the baby shark video. For anybody who hasn't seen it, it is on my Instagram account, and that is, like, probably one of my most favorite memories of airsoft. That was great. But, you know, that first impression of you guys were always just, like, you're so comical in the games. Like, you're passionate about playing, but at the same time, too, man, you guys are a big ball of fun, and I'm so excited that I got to meet you guys. And then, you know, obviously, I started to meet the girls, and we met the girls at Icebreaker, and then, you know, again at Nightfall 8. And the one thing I have to say is, to see all the girls involved too, like it really paints a picture of how close Nomad is. And you have this family environment, and the girls are just like, they give her shit more than most guys do.
Yeah, our girls aren't just the guys' girlfriends that are out there to, like, play medic or something like that. Like, our girls are there to kick ass and play the game.
Yeah, man. And I absolutely love it because, like, the whole team, when you guys go, like, when you guys went to the Frago, I just couldn't stop smiling because you're so, like, we're going to get these guys. Like, the girls are just right in there with you. There's no hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah, we definitely haven't had, there's every now and then there's like a player that kind of talks shit about there being girls on the field or makes some sort of like Barbie joke or something like that. And the guys never have to say anything about it. Like, our 3 girls will put anybody in their place at any time. Like, they are, like, they're some mean broads. They're good to go. Like, they can handle the environment, and that's why I know that you're not going to have any problem at all playing Airsoft, because you got, like, the same attitude. Like,
that's why me and the Nomad girls get along so well, and
yeah.
I love them so much.
Yeah, like, if you think the Nomad boys are crazy, the only thing keeping us in line are those girls. So, like, every event that we've gone to without the girls, we've ended up in some sort of trouble. Always after the event, but it's usually with the law. So that's we've gotten a little bit of trouble without our girls there to kind of take care of us. So it's gonna be good having more team moms, or den mother, as the Crywolf guys call you.
Oh yeah, I'm really thankful though, because Nomad and Crywolf are very close, and I really do appreciate the amount of love that both the teams have for each other.
Awesome.
So,
well, thank you, Katie. It was awesome having you, and I'm sure we'll definitely get you on again after events, stuff like that. If there's ever anything you want to push or plug, just let me know. And
when daybreak comes, man.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right. Have a great time. Enjoy your Sunday. Thanks for coming on, and hope you listen to the podcast.
For sure. Have a great one.
Katie, this is going to be the 3rd time I have you on the podcast. I actually forgot to ask you one question that I know is super important. I'm going to edit this in. Why do you wear a press patch?
Well, that's an exciting question for me. Honestly, the biggest thing that a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually legitimately press. So I have a journalism degree. I also have a graduate certificate in media convergence. I've contracted work with CBC, the Weather Network, CTV, you name it. I've done a lot of media work over the years, and my biggest thing for me is that eventually one day I would like to be a combat press photographer in real life, not just at Airsoft. So
what do you mean Airsoft isn't real life?
Oh, no, don't.
Sorry.
No, it's just like, it's one of those things where I wear that press badge because I feel like over time I've earned that right to wear that press badge. But not only that, too, it was a gift from Crywolf, specifically Dozer, which is Mitch, got me that press patch as a gift from one of the Milsons he went to. And I wear it honorably because, everybody recognizes me in that UN blue press patch. So I really appreciate the fact that I can wear it at majority of the games, but obviously there is specific games where I'm not allowed to wear that uniform because some of the guys don't like it. But that's okay. And I'm 100% on board with that, and I'm just excited when I do get to wear it because I get to proudly wear the achievement that I've worked so hard to earn.
Well, it definitely shows in the content that you put out that you had to have had a bunch of experience behind you, because you're not just popping out random photos. Like your photos are very skilled, and it definitely shows that you have the experience. Which, actually, oh, my dog started barking, and I have to cut that out. Actually brings me to one last thing. Kind of a personal question for me. How do you not post unflattering pictures? Because I know there are some angles of me that don't look good. Like I know this Pillsbury Doughboy doesn't look good from the side, and none of the photos you've posted have been. Well, last year's were a lot worse than this year's. I'm actually really pumped about the pictures this year. But do you kind of filter through things to make sure you're not posting something that's, a little embarrassing, some would say?
I'm so glad that you asked that question. So a lot of people, they want their pictures as fast as possible. The biggest thing for me is that I take time and I go through all the pictures and I make sure that I take the unflattering ones out.
Okay, I had a feeling.
Well, okay, but here's the best part. So there's a little bit of blooper reel that I may be posting in the near future. Where, there's a lot of times where, guys are making really funny faces. Sometimes they're picking their nose in the field.
Nice.
Sometimes, there's a lot of funny things. So I do my best to make sure that everybody looks their absolute best when I post the photos, because those are the photos the guys want to see. But there's a lot of times where the picture's not what you want to see.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Just on random pictures, I've been caught in a few, and I'm like, oh, that's what my plate carrier looks like on me. Okay, I should get a bigger one. That shirt's too small. But awesome, and yeah, that's just one thing that I thought of a while ago as I was going through your pictures, because I was like, I know a lot of other people have to be feeling the same way, but I'm just like, there are no directly bad pictures of me on here, and you are around a lot, so there's gotta be there. So if you're ever going through your pictures and you have some like super unflattering ones of me, if you could send those to me, that'd be hilarious, because I'd like to post them.
For sure, I will definitely do so.
But anyways, thanks again. Sorry for having to get you on a third time here, and I'm sure I'll edit it in somewhere. It'll look good. But thanks, and goodbye again.
Well, goodbye again, Mitch.
Thank you for joining us again, guys. This has been another Nomad Podcast. What is this, episode 5, I believe? I really hope it's not 6. It should have been 6, but as many of you noticed, we did not have a podcast last week. That has a lot to do with it being a long weekend. We had some technical difficulties, as was discussed in the interview there with Katie. And at the end of the day, we just wanted to hang out, party, and be a team, and really didn't want this to become a chore. Really wanted it to be something that we could put out for you guys, and if you wanted to listen to it, go ahead. If you don't, that's also cool. But it's really just something fun for our team to do for you guys. I just punched the microphone. As always, have a great fucking day. Thanks for listening.